Okay, so we are now going to go over the camelid stomach. So the camelid stomach has 3 compartments compared to the bovine that has 4 compartments. And we've got 2 specimens here, so we'll start on this one, we'll move to the next one, and then we'll come back to this one. So the 3 compartments are named, they're super easy, C1 or compartment 1, either term is fine. So that's this large compartment here. And you can see when I move this tag out of the way that the esophagus is coming in here. So the esophagus enters compartment 1. So if that flow of ingest just starts in C1, coming from the esophagus. Okay, so then we move ventrally, and you'll see it's labeled here. C2 is this more ventral, kind of smaller ball-shaped compartment here. So esophagus to C1, this large compartment, all of this is C1. Ingestion moves to C2. And then this kind of tube-like structure here is C3. On this specimen, it's actually broken. When we move over to that specimen, you'll see it intact. So this is compartment 3. And you should note that the duodenum comes off of compartment 3 here. So duodenum and small intestine would be starting here. Okay, so then we'll move over to this one over here. So this one's a little bit more intact and it's not labeled. So we'll just go through those compartments one more time. So we've got the esophagus coming in right here. So then the probe would be in the cardia here on the interior. We have compartment 1 is this large compartment, C1. Then we move ventrally, this kind of, again, ball-shaped structure down here is C2 or compartment 2. And then we move to C3. This kind of tube-like structure here. All right, now we'll move back to this one over here, and we'll go over a few of the internal structures you need to know. So the first one is within C1 or compartment 1, we need to know what the ventricular lip is. So I'm just gonna turn this a little bit so it's a little easier to see. So you'll see where these red pins are in here. There's a little ridge or a little lip, and that's called the ventricular lip. And so that is it within compartment 1. And it's almost reminiscent of that reticular groove that we see in the bovine because it's coming from the entrance of where that esophagus is coming in. I'll rotate it a little bit more, if that's helpful. So that's that ventricular lip. And then we need to identify the transverse fold. So the transverse fold, you can kind of think of it like in the bovine, we had those pillars inside of the stomach. So the transverse fold is just this fold that I'm pointing out with my probe. So I'll kind of outline it and then I'll move my hand away so that you can identify it. So that transverse fold is in there within compartment 1, C1, and it differentiates between this kind of cranial portion of the sac and this kind of caudal portion of that sac of compartment 1. So that is the transverse fold in there compared to the ventricular lip, which again, I'm just rotating it down, and those red pins are in that ventricular lip there. Okay, and the last internal structure we need to go over are these saculations. And so that's that kind of honeycomb appearance you see down within the base of compartment 1. And then also you'll see them in the base of compartment 2 as well. So all of those down there, these kind of hole-looking structures are the saculations. And that should be it on the camelid stomach.